Obama supports Cameron's call for UK to remain in EU. Obama says Britain's ties with Europe help the world's economy and the fight against terrorism. President Barack Obama said Friday that the world's economy and the fight against terrorism would be weakened if Britain decides to break its ties with the 28-member European Union. Even as he defended himself against charges that he was meddling in internal British politics. "I am not coming here to fix any votes. I am not casting a vote myself. I am offering an opinion," Obama said of the criticism during a press conference alongside British Prime Minister David Cameron. His comments followed an op-ed in the Telegraph on Friday in which the US president appealed to the British public as a friend to remain in the organization. UK voters head to the polls next month for a referendum on whether to leave the bloc. Obama, in London for a three-day visit, argued that the special relationship between the US and UK is stronger because of the international organizations both countries belong to. "Nations that make their presence felt on the world stage aren't those that go it alone," Obama said. "The UK is at its best when it is helping to lead a strong Europe. It leverages UK power." London Mayor Boris Johnson, a leader of the campaign for the UK to leave the European Union, wrote his own op-ed in the Sun newspaper stating that Obama is hypocritical to tell us in the UK that we must surrender control of so much of our democracy. Johnson also made a controversial criticism in the article about the part Kenyan president's ancestral dislike of the British Empire, noting a story about how Obama moved a bust of former British Prime Minister Winston Churchill outside of the Oval Office when he became president. Asked about Johnson's comment, Obama responded that he still keeps a bust of Churchill outside the Oval Office, but as the first African-American president he moved it during his term to make room for a bust of civil rights leader Martin Luther King Jr. "I love Winston Churchill. I love the guy," Obama said. The UK appears divided on whether to cut its ties with Europe. YouGov polling as of last week showed that 40% of UK citizens supported remaining in the EU, while 39% favor the so-called Brexit. Another polling average showed a 51% to 49% split in favor of remaining in the Union. Obama also noted the global financial implications that would ensue if such international ties were broken, because 44% of the UK's exports go to Europe, and trade deals, including the proposed transatlantic trade and investment partnership, would be harder to negotiate if Britain were not an EU member state. Cameron said that deal, which would eliminate tariffs on goods shipped between the US and EU as well as align regulatory systems to facilitate trade, has the potential to be the biggest trade deal in the history of the world. The deal will almost certainly come up Monday when US and UK leaders meet with French President François Hollande, German Chancellor Angela Merkel and Italian Prime Minister Matteo Renzi. Cameron added that he and Obama would like to see an international anti-corruption coordination center. The Prime Minister highlighted his nation's special status as an EU member that is not part of the Eurozone single currency or open borders agreement, adding, "We maintain our borders and will continue to do so." Many in Cameron's Conservative Party question the benefits of EU membership as the Union's economic growth has lagged behind the UK's in each of the last 5 years. Cameron defended Obama's stance in favor of EU membership and said, "I have not found a country that wishes Britain well that wishes us to leave the European Union. I want Britain to be as strong as possible," Cameron said. "We draw strengthened project strength and make our people wealthier by being in the EU." Obama noted that European unity has been under strain because of global financial crises and the rush of Syrian refugees fleeing to Europe, which he said amplifies a global debate about immigration during this time of globalization. It is believed that more than 1 million Syrian refugees migrated into Europe last year. and security concerns about the recent terrorist attacks in France and Belgium have led some European and American lawmakers to call for stricter border controls. Obama cautioned against giving in to the forces of division, alluding to rhetoric voiced by Republican presidential candidates, including Donald Trump, who has called for immigration reform and a temporary ban on Muslims entering the country. "There is a temptation to want to just pull up the drawbridge," Obama said. "We see that played out in some of the debates that have happened in the U.S. presidential race. That debate is accelerating in Europe." Both leaders spoke about their commitment to fight the Islamic State group and prevent terrorist attacks. The jihadist group has recently worked to expand its presence in Libya, but there are no plans for ground troops in Libya, Obama said, adding that the U.S. and UK can supply training and expertise to government forces there. "As this progresses, we can't wait if the Islamic State group is starting to get a foothold there," Obama said. "And so we are working not just with the Libyan government but a lot of our international partners to make sure that we're getting the intelligence that we need regarding Syria." Obama said he and Cameron have looked at all options to end hostilities but added, "None of them are great," and he voiced his continued desire to see President Bashar Assad step down. Obama also criticized Russian President Vladimir Putin as the preeminent backer of a murderous regime, adding that he spoke with the Russian leader on Monday to put more pressure on Assad to maintain the cessation of hostilities.